My name is Sundareshwar. I'm basically a native of Tiruvarur district and born in Madurai. So that's where my name Sundareshwar comes from. So the first part of my life, I was in North India because my father was in Narcos. So just around the time when he was in 1971 war, for a brief period, I was in my native. And then I joined a military school. Till about 18, I was there. And then I joined during college. I was doing an internship with my uncle at his garments factory. And immediately after college, I joined the Madras Stock Exchange under a stockbroker called Mr. V.K. Padmanabhan, who was then the president of Madras Stock Exchange. So I'm blessed to have live in a joint family with my dad and mom. My wife is a teacher, and I have two children. My son is doing law, and my daughter is doing fashion design. So that's just about the small personal peek into my life.
Yeah, okay. Wonderful, sir. Actually, so you had a different various kinds of professional journey towards in your life. Like you have been in different aspects of business. But when you decided to come into the advisor kind of thing, and what made you to come into this actually, and what kind of mission you have to accomplish in this field actually?
Okay, so basically, my life's mission now is to take 100,000 people or 1 lakh people to financial abundance. That's my stated goal right now. So hopefully, before I hit my grave, I'll be able to achieve that. So as I mentioned earlier, I started my career as a stockbroker, and in year 2000, just after my daughter was born, I had to quit stockbroking, and I went and started a medical equipment company. And within the first few years, I realized that my heart still lay in being in the world of finance. So we were able to build that medical equipment company into a successful company, and we were able to sell it to a private equity. So that gave always come back to my first love. My first love has always been dealing with money, advising people, and to build wealth. So when I came back to this industry again, I realized as a stockbroker, I saw a lot of people who came with an attitude to create wealth, but ended up trading and losing out all their money. And that's when I realized the beauty of creating wealth is not by actively doing something, but to passively allow something to happen. And that's where we drew in inspiration. And I thought that we need people who can actually tell people to be confident, stay put, and have a longer term perspective to market and create wealth. So I think around 2012, 2013 is when the whole idea crystallized, and that's when we formed Purple Pond.
Wonderful, sir. Actually, you are in the journey of Purple Pond, and you have a mission of accomplishing 1 lakh people. Actually, so far, how much your journey was, and can you share a view on how to plan a financial plan? Actually, for a salaried kind of people, what will be your view on starting a planning? Is there any basic? This is the kind of amount you have to start, or something like that, or I started investing based on the kind of guidance you have given actually. So you
Okay.
can you give on salary based people, how can they start their financial planning?
See, Hari, whether it is salaried or you are in the business, the fundamentals always remain the same. So investment is also a journey, right? You create a wealth is also a journey. So it's just like you have any other journey. Before you start the journey, first you should plan your destination. Once you know the destination, then you actually decide which type of transport you choose and how long you're going to travel, and who are going to be with you and what is it that you're going to carry. So something is very similar is how you start your financial journey. You first define your goals. Okay. For you to achieve anything in life, forget even financial planning. For you to achieve anything in life, first you need to define your goals. So you define your goals, and then you have to understand in a financial, creating a financial abundance means you have to save. Now we have to first understand why we need to save. The primary reason we need to save is because our earning life is less than our total life. See, I'm sure our generation we will live till 80, but will we be earning till 80? No. We will always earning. So our earning age is always somewhere between. So you have to save from your earning life so that you can last the rest of your life. So you should always be able to keep aside some portion. That's number one. To do with the money, you have to invest the money for the simple reason you have to you have to beat inflation, because inflation is the biggest killer for creation of wealth. So whenever you save money, just keeping it as cash doesn't help you, because you'll be losing the value of money. So you always invest the money so that you can beat inflation. So that's your fundamental objective. Then growing it faster, slower is all the secondary point. So to answer your question in short, define a goal and then start putting aside some money and then start investing it.
So as a salaried or whatever you told, actually it's a journey actually. So what are the various areas where we can start investing to start with, or what are the various areas we can do investing actually? Like there is stocks and everything.
Okay. See, basically, any human being, we have only a certain set of instruments available for investment. Okay, so basically, there are 5 or 6 asset classes all of us can invest. The first asset class that we can invest is something traditional, which we all know. Is we were initially, man was a hunter, and then we became a pastoral society, and then we started owning land. So obviously, real estate is one asset that we can invest. And then we can invest in gold. The third is, we call it as fixed income securities. Basically, any instrument which gives you a fixed rate of return, like an FD or a PPF or a Sukanya Samriddhi, wherever you get a fixed rate of return, that is called as a fixed instrument or debt instrument. The fourth one is equity investments. The fifth one is art and wine. So it's a very sophisticated investment, which is not very mature in Indian context, but in Europe and other areas, it's very well, a very mature investment. And of course, the sixth element, which is slowly coming in, is currencies. You can invest in the currencies of the other countries. So that answers your question, Hari. I think you can pose the next question. Someone has asked this question: what is our advice on investing in cryptocurrency? See, always remember, there is something called a central bank for any country. And the central bank gains its authority from being able to print money. So the currency is something that they can print. They can, decide on what's going to be the interest rates that the banks are going to lend or borrow for them. So any instrument that challenges the hold of the central bank will always be made illegal. Okay. So some of my friends who went into cryptocurrencies, I told them exactly the same thing a couple of years back. And you could see that RBI is already mentioning that it is creating a lot of these rules, which is going to make it illegal. So stay away from that, because there's no legal validity to it. In today's technology world, a lot of you can get carried away. But if you really want your money to be safe, don't get into any instrument which is not said to be legal as per the central bank or the rules of the country. So stay away from that. Okay, so there is a question by Sivakumar, in year 2020 and 21, what would be your advice to invest? So Sivakumar, irrespective of the year of your investment, you should always be driven by what is your goal. So ideally, when you choose an asset class to invest, you have to take 3 factors into account. The first factor is your current age. The second factor is the numbers to your goal. The third factor is, what is your risk appetite? Now, let's say to give you a parallel, let's say someone, you like speed, and I ask you to go and drive a TVS 50. You're not going to be excited about it. The same way, someone wants safety, and I ask you to drive a very high speed Hayabusa motorcycle. You're not going to be excited. So you always choose those instruments which meet your goal with respect to your age, time to the goal, and your risk appetite. Okay, so it's a very individual, it has to be something that has to be a collaborative effort between your advisor and you. And Vidya has asked, for retiring this month, what is the safe investment mode? Now, retirement, I'm assuming 60. Now, I know Vidya, you are not 60, but someone is retiring and it's going to be at 60. I would always say that you exercise option when to you by India, right? So they are called as the sovereign guaranteed investment. So till some time back, we had the highest paying interest from RBI bonds, which has been stopped now. So there's something called as Prime Minister's Bhayavandana Yojana, which gives you a 7.4% interest right now. It's a 10-year tenure. And if you have been investing, you still have some cushion to invest in, the fag end of your this thing. If PPF is still there, you can park some money over there and exhaust all. Then there is something called a senior citizen scheme. So exhaust all those things. And also remember that if you have a risk appetite, you can also park a certain portion of it in equity, those portion which you would require 5 years down the line. And ensure that when you're retiring, that you definitely have a good health insurance, because that's something that can eat away into your savings. Now, coming to Hari's question, even stock market has crashed due to COVID. At least Bitcoin is stable. See, it's like this. It's not about whether it is stable or unstable. The key question is whether it is legal or illegal. So what is the use of stability if it is not even legal? Okay, so don't get carried away by these things which can look rosy right now. It's like walking on a thin ice, right? There's a frozen lake. You walk, it looks firm, and then all of a sudden it collapses and you go down and you can't even come up. So Bitcoins are something like that. Bitcoins or the cryptocurrencies are something like that. So always go for something that's very, very legal. Okay. Okay, there's another question which asks real estate versus bank FD, what would be a good? See, both of them are completely uncomparable assets. I'll tell you why. The bank deposits or FD are very stable. They are fixed income securities. So they give you a fixed rate of return, and the risk is very, very low because there's an element of guarantee that is provided by the government of India. After that, there's a little bit of risk, but otherwise, it's a very safe investment. Real estate, a lot of us, we think it's a safe investment, but please remember real estate prices also go up and come down. So these are two incomparable assets. So I'll give you one piece of advice. When you're young, having a fixed asset is okay. As you get older, reduce the number of fixed assets in your portfolio and have more of cash assets. Now, cash assets could be anything where you are able to withdraw the money in less than 4 days. So always look at the kind of assets where liquidity is very high. But having said that, sooner or later, we are also going to have real estate investments, which we can do it as a financial instrument. The real estate, there are something called as REIT, okay? Real estate investment trust, which will monetize your real estate. Let us say there's a mall that is coming up. All the public, let's say 10,000 people can get together, each one of us invest 1 lakh and create a mall, and we can become equal owners of that mall. So any income that is generated from it can be distributed to people. So unless there's a liquidity, as you get older, reduce your real estate holdings or fixed assets holding and increase your cash. So there is a lot of question once again on the Bitcoin. As I said that unless it has been tendered legal, any amount of conversation that we have on this, it is just going to be an academic conversation. So I would prudently stay away from it. I have zero investments in Bitcoins in my portfolio today, and we don't recommend that to the clients. So unless the technology is established and the central banks accept, we strongly don't advise that for any one of our investors. Okay, so Hari has put up a question saying that everyone has a dream to become crorepati, and can everyone achieve us? Throw us some light. See, I'll tell you something. Becoming a crorepati is the easiest thing in life, because I'll give you a bit of stat, and you will all be very surprised. Let's say you start investing when you are 25. Okay, I'm sure at 25 most of us can start investing. If you just invest 1,000 rupees per month till your age of 58, and your rate of return is 15%, 1.5, and you will have 1 crore 6 lakhs at the time of your retirement. So just 1,000 rupees per month invested over 33 years with a 15% rate of return will make you a crorepati. Now, the key point is not about becoming crorepati. The key point is how many crores do you require when you retire? Okay, so that's a more important question than whether you can become crorepati. Crorepati is just a number, right? When we were young, people who used to have lakhs were treated big. Today, many of the youngsters, the starting salary is above a lakh. So it's not about whether you can become crorepati. That's the easiest thing that can happen. but whether how many crores do you require when you retire or for any one of your goals. I think that's a very more important question. Can you advise a specific mutual fund that you think is good choice for? See, this is a very general topic. It's like you go to a doctor and say, can you prescribe me a medicine? See, every product when they are launched for a particular type of audience. So you have to choose the product in sync with your needs. So there is no solution of a product without your need. So first you define your need, then go through your risk profile test and understand your risk appetite, and then choose the product. So just giving a back of the hand prescription is not going to help you. So even when you choose mutual fund, you have to choose which are the type of funds which suits you, whether it's a large cap fund or a mid cap fund or a thematic fund. It all differs from person to person. In the world of investment and in the process of selecting a product, there's nothing called as right or wrong. What is more important is whether it is suitable or not.